The Caramel Rabbit and the Lazy Cat. Once upon a time, in an enchanted clearing surrounded by wildflowers and colorful bushes, there lived a rabbit named Caramel. With his golden fur and ever-watchful eyes, Caramel was known for exploring every corner of the forest. He had an insatiable curiosity that led him to discover wonders that few knew about. His days were filled with adventures. However, there was something that concerned him. On the other side of the clearing, under the shade of a tall, welcoming tree, lived Ron, a gray-furred cat with sleepy eyes. Ron spent his days lounging, showing little curiosity about the world around him. To him, the clearing was a comfortable space, and the forest was merely a distant echo. One day, Caramel decided it was time to help Ron see the world with new eyes. He was tired of watching his friend lost in a deep sleep, surrounded by leaves and flowers, while life pulsed outside. "Come on, Ron. There's a world of adventures waiting for you," exclaimed the rabbit, hopping with enthusiasm. But the cat simply opened one eye lazily and with a sigh murmured, "I see no reason, Caramel. This place is nice and comfortable." That response discouraged Caramel, but it also ignited a spark of determination within him. Caramel was convinced that curiosity and the joy of living were contagious. He looked around and saw that the forest was at its most vibrant. Flowers of all colors danced in the wind, and the bird songs created a special symphony. Inspired, Caramel decided that a change was needed. He began to plan a surprise that could pull Ron out of his comfort zone. He envisioned a special outing that included magical spots in the forest where the beauty of nature was displayed in all its splendor. Excited about his idea, Caramel selected his favorite locations. The first destination would be the waterfall with crystal-clear waters, where sunlight created rainbows as it reflected off the scattered droplets. The second would be a field of wildflowers that, at certain times of the year, showcased a spectacle of colors, attracting butterflies and other enchanted beings. And to top it all off, a visit to the old oak tree, which, according to the legends of the forest, had the power to grant wishes. With each thought, Caramel felt the energy of adventure growing, and he could hardly wait to share this experience with Ron. The next morning, Caramel woke up earlier than usual, his heart beating anxiously, determined. He began to prepare every detail of the surprise. First, he picked fresh, fragrant flowers to create a colorful bouquet that would catch Ron's attention. He thought about how the cat, even being lazy, could not resist the aroma and beauty of the flowers. With the bouquet ready, Caramel looked at the tree where Ron slept and decided it was time to make his call. "Ron," shouted Caramel as he bounced excitedly toward the solemn, sleeping cat. "Wake up. I have something amazing to show you." Ron, however, seemed reluctant. He stretched slowly, opening his eyes just a little more, but soon returned a sleepy, uninterested glance to Caramel. "Are you once again insisting on pulling me from my rest? There's nothing out there worth seeing." Caramel, however, didn't let himself be discouraged. "But, Ron, you can't imagine what's waiting for you. There's a waterfall that sparkles like diamonds and a field full of vibrant flowers. Plus, I want to take you to the old oak tree that is said to grant wishes," he exclaimed, with contagious enthusiasm. The sparkle in the rabbit's eyes was undeniable, and for the first time, Ron felt a slight tremor of curiosity in his heart. "A wish, you say?" Ron replied, raising an eyebrow skeptically. "And what good would a wish do if I don't even know what I truly want?" Caramel smiled. "We need to start the adventure to discover that. Let's take a trip together. I promise it will be amazing." The cat hesitated, battling his instinct to remain in his comfort zone. But Caramel's words began to challenge him. In a moment of bravery, he stood up and looked directly at the rabbit. "Okay, Caramel, I will go with you, but only if you promise this adventure won't be tiring." The rabbit jumped for joy. "I promise you'll never have to exert yourself too much. We'll be like the breezes in spring, light and fun." So, both began to prepare. Caramel was full of energy, while Ron, a bit reluctant, finally decided to try the journey that would change their lives. The two friends set off, and soon the forest was filled with laughter and new songs. Caramel led the way, with Ron following cautiously, admiring the transformation of his familiar surroundings. With each step they took, Ron felt closer to the beating heart of that magical forest. As soon as they arrived at the first stop, the waterfall, Caramel paused and turned to the cat. "Look, Ron, do you see? The water sparkles like stars." The cat looked at the waterfall and, for the first time, noticed its splendor. The droplets of water, as they fell, reflected a rainbow of colors dancing in the sunlight. Ron's eyes widened in awe, and his heart began to beat faster. He took a step forward, and the refreshing sensation of the water and the soothing sound of the droplets began to melt away his indifference. "Wow!" he murmured softly. "This is really beautiful." Caramel, feeling victorious, exclaimed, "And this is just the beginning. Let's go to the flower field now." They hurried there, and as soon as they arrived, Ron was stunned by the sight. The field was filled with flowers in an almost surreal variety of colors and shapes, and as butterflies danced among them, the cat felt like a protagonist in a dreamlike story. "Caramel," he said slowly, "how do you always find this enchantment outside your homes?" The rabbit smiled, sharing with Ron the joy of discovery and how each step outside his comfort zone could be rewarding. The freedom that nature offered and the beauty that surrounded it were treasures worth exploring. Ron began to blossom with each newfound realization, just as the field was blooming. Then, as they took a break, Caramel suggested they sit under the shade of a large tree that stood proudly beside the field. "This is the perfect moment for us to share our wishes," he proposed. Ron, who had previously hesitated to express his desires, began to voice his thoughts. With a sparkle in his eyes, he revealed his wish to have adventures alongside Caramel, exploring all that the forest had to offer. Surprised by his friend's words, Caramel smiled once again. After enjoying that special moment, the two friends continued their journey toward the old oak tree, which was just a few steps away. Along the way, Caramel and Ron talked about their perceptions and feelings, further strengthening the friendship that was blossoming between them. The cat, who had once been complacent, now found himself immersed in a whirlwind of new emotions, questioning his previous life of inactivity. Finally, when they arrived at the old oak tree, both felt the magnitude of the tree standing before them, with its wide branches and vibrant leaves. It was evident that its roots had grown over generations. "Here we are, Ron," said Caramel, looking up in admiration. "This is the place where wishes can be made." The cat watched intently as Caramel closed his eyes and, with a firm voice, made his wish. "I wish for constant adventures and good times alongside Ron." Hearing these words, the cat felt a wave of emotion. He realized that more than any wish, what truly mattered was the friendship and the memories they were building together. And so, with renewed determination in his heart, Ron expressed his wish sincerely. "I wish to perceive and appreciate the magic of life every day." The old oak tree, as if listening to every word, gently swayed its leaves, as if beginning to confirm that their wishes would be granted. Suddenly, a light breeze passed through the branches, and the two friends felt a new energy in the air. It was as if the forest was celebrating the change that had occurred in the hearts of Ron and Caramel. With a new understanding, Ron realized that the outside world was filled with opportunities and experiences. He finally felt truly alive, embracing the idea that friendship could make him braver. Even as the day came to a close, the lessons learned and the bonds created illuminated his path. Now, Ron's eyes sparkled not only with the discovery of the wonders of the forest, but also with the transformative power of friendship that the rabbit had always believed in. The journey was just beginning. The adventures of Caramel and Ron in the forest showed that often we step out of our comfort zones to discover not only the world around us, but also ourselves. What began as a simple desire to explore transformed into a journey of self-discovery and strengthening of friendship. In every corner of the forest, there was a new painting of life, and each step taken by Ron made him realize that the beauty of life lies in living it fully, side by side with friends who inspire us to be the best version of ourselves.
In a magical forest, there lived a soft, white rabbit named Caramelo. He loved hopping among the colorful flowers and munching on the delicious carrots he found there. One day, while exploring the forest, Caramelo heard a strange sound coming from the river. Curious, he approached and found a huge alligator sunbathing on the rocks. Instead of being scared, Caramelo introduced himself and, to his surprise, the alligator, whose name was Dentinho, was very kind and loved to play. They soon became the best of friends, despite being so different. Caramelo was quick and agile, while Dentinho was big and strong. Together, they explored the forest, played hide-and-seek among the trees, and even fished in the river. But their friendship wasn't just for fun, they also protected each other. When a gang of mischievous monkeys tried to steal the fruits from the orchard, Caramelo with his speed and Dentinho with his strength managed to scare them away. One day, Caramelo and Dentinho heard a very loud noise coming from the mountain. They decided to investigate and discovered that a group of woodcutters was cutting down all the trees in the forest. The forest animals were very sad because their homes were being destroyed. Caramelo and Dentinho knew they had to do something to stop the forest from being destroyed. With great courage, they went to the woodcutters and asked them to stop cutting down the trees. But the woodcutters wouldn't listen and continued with their work. Caramelo and Dentinho were very sad but didn't give up. They came up with a very clever plan. During the night, they made a lot of noise in the forest, imitating the sounds of ferocious animals. The woodcutters, scared, ran far away from the forest. With the forest saved, Caramelo and Dentinho became the heroes of the forest. All the animals thanked them for saving their homes. Caramelo and Dentinho learned that friendship is a great treasure and that together we can make a difference. They continued exploring the forest, making new friends and living many adventures. Years passed and Caramelo and Dentinho grew old, but their friendship never wavered. They loved to tell stories to the young ones about their adventures and about the importance of protecting nature. Caramelo remembered his old friendship with the alligator, and together they discover new ways to have fun while protecting the forest. And you, do you want to live incredible adventures like the rabbit Caramelo and the alligator Dentinho? Subscribe to our channel and learn about this and other amazing stories in the ebook at the link fixed in the comments or fixed in the profile. Create magical moments with your children and help protect nature. Remember, friendship and unity are the key to a happier and more sustainable world. Inspirational message. Caramelo remembers his old friendship with the alligator, and together they discover new ways to have fun while protecting the forest. Subscribe to our channel and learn about this and other amazing stories in the ebook at the link fixed in the comments or fixed in the profile. Create magical moments with your children and help protect nature. Aims to capture the essence of the original story while using simple language that is easy for children to understand. The tone is playful and engaging, inviting children to embark on an adventure with Caramelo and Dentinho.
The Caramel Bunny and the Lost Bird. It was a beautiful morning in the forest, and Caramel, the bunny, was hopping joyfully between the trees, enjoying the soft sunlight. Suddenly, he heard a faint chirp coming from a bush. Curious, Caramel approached and found a tiny bird trembling, its little wings tucked in fear. "What happened, little one?" Caramel asked in his kind voice. "I'm lost," the bird replied with tears in its eyes. "I can't find my way back to my nest." Caramel, always so kind, smiled at the bird. "Don't worry, I'll help you find your way back. Together we'll be strong." The little bird took a deep breath, trying to calm down, and Caramel began guiding him through the forest. Along the way, they crossed streams, tall trees, and a few places that seemed scary to the bird. But Caramel was always by his side, encouraging him. "Look, every step we take brings us closer to home," Caramel said, looking at the bird. "No matter how far it seems, we should never give up." After a while, the bird began to recognize some places. His eyes sparkled with hope. "We're almost there," he cried, excited. "That's right," Caramel said. "Keep believing." Finally, they saw the nest, high up in a tree. The little bird, with wings renewed by courage, flew up and landed safely beside his family. He looked down at Caramel with gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you, Caramel. You taught me that even when far from home, we should never give up." Caramel smiled and waved. "Always remember that. The journey may be tough, but the important thing is to keep going, one step at a time." And so, Caramel the bunny hopped happily back to his burrow, knowing he had made a difference that day. The bird, in turn, never forgot the lesson he had learned. No matter how far we are, courage and persistence will always lead us home. Never give up, even when it seems like you're far from home. The journey may be hard, but with courage and persistence, we will always find our way back. Did you enjoy this story? Subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming adventures like this. Don't forget to like and share with your friends and family. And if you'd like to have these and other inspiring stories with you, check out our exclusive ebook through the link below or on our channel profile. Don't miss it.
The Caramel Rabbit and the Sad Lion. In a sun-drenched savanna, lived a lion named Leo. He was known for his strength and courage, but one day, a terrible thing happened. He lost a great battle and his confidence was shaken. The proud king of the jungle felt sad and alone. While Leo hid in a corner of the savanna, lamenting his fate, a small caramel rabbit named Caramelito passed by. Caramelito was an adventurous explorer, always with his backpack full of treasures and his Indiana Jones hat. Seeing Leo sad, Caramelito didn't hesitate to approach. "Hello, Leo. Why are you so sad?" Caramelito asked in his gentle voice. Leo, surprised by the little rabbit's boldness, told him his whole story. Caramelito listened attentively and then smiled. "Leo, even the strongest can feel weak sometimes. It's normal to feel scared and sad. But life is full of ups and downs, and the important thing is to learn from experiences." Caramelito then took an old map and a compass from his backpack. "Come with me, Leo. Let's go on a great adventure," Caramelito exclaimed enthusiastically. Leo, intrigued, decided to follow the little rabbit. Together, they explored the savanna, faced challenges, and discovered incredible places. Caramelito told exciting stories about his adventures, making Leo laugh and feel lighter. After days of journey, Leo and Caramelito reached the top of a mountain. From there, they could see the entire savanna. Leo took a deep breath and felt a peace he hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you, Caramelito. Thanks to you, I learned that true strength is not in being invincible, but in having the courage to face challenges and overcome difficulties," said Leo, his eyes shining. Caramelito smiled. "Friendship is the greatest adventure of all, Leo. And together, we can overcome any obstacle." From that day on, Leo never felt alone again. He learned that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. And so, the king of the jungle returned to reign, not only with strength but also with kindness and compassion. The story of the caramel rabbit and the sad lion shows us that all of us, at some point in life, need a friend to support us and help us find our way. True friendship transcends differences and teaches us that strength lies in unity and the ability to overcome difficulties together. Want to know the adventure of the caramel rabbit and the sad lion and other amazing stories? Subscribe, like and check the link for the ebooks in the comments. Caramel the bunny and Bubbles the curious fish. An underwater adventure. Caramel was a very special bunny. His fur was as soft as cotton candy and the color of a yummy caramel. He lived in a cozy burrow in the middle of a forest full of tall trees and colorful flowers. Caramel loved exploring the forest, hopping from branch to branch and sniffing out every little nook and cranny. One day, while exploring the edge of a crystal-clear lake, he heard a tiny, curious voice. "Hello, bunny. Can you tell me what's on the other side of the water?" asked a squeaky voice. Caramel looked down and saw a little fish with shiny scales and big, curious eyes. "Hello. I'm Caramel," said the bunny. "And you are?" "I'm Bubbles," replied the fish. I'm so curious about what the world is like outside the water. Can you tell me? Caramel had never had a fish friend before. He thought Bubbles' curiosity was really fun and decided to show him a little bit of the world above the water. Caramel and Bubbles spent hours talking. Bubbles asked lots of questions about the trees, the flowers, the sun, and the wind. Caramel answered with excitement, telling him everything he knew about the world he lived in. One day, Bubbles had a brilliant idea. Caramel, what if I could come out of the water and see all of this up close? He asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Caramel knew this was impossible. Fish couldn't breathe outside of water. But he didn't want to disappoint his friend. After thinking for a moment, he had an idea. Bubbles, I'm going to show you something amazing, said Caramel with a mysterious smile. Caramel picked up a big leaf and put it in the water, making a kind of boat. Then, he helped Bubbles climb onto the leaf. Carefully, Caramel pushed the leaf into the middle of the lake. Bubbles was thrilled with the feeling of moving through the water. Caramel and Bubbles sailed around the lake, looking at all the beautiful things around them. Bubbles was amazed by the beautiful flowers, the singing birds, and the feeling of the sun on his scales. Caramel, in turn, learned a lot about life in the lake, listening to Bubbles' stories about the other fish, the water plants, and the bugs that lived in the water. At dusk, Caramel took Bubbles back to his burrow. They said goodbye, promising to meet again the next day. Bubbles thanked Caramel for showing him the world above the water. Caramel, you're the best friend I could ever ask for, said Bubbles, his voice filled with gratitude. Caramel smiled. He knew he had done the right thing. From that day on, Caramel and Bubbles became inseparable. They explored the forest and the lake together, learning from each other and discovering the beauty of nature. Caramel learned to appreciate the peace and quiet of the underwater world, while Bubbles learned to appreciate the energy and excitement of the world on land. The friendship between Caramel and Bubbles showed the importance of respecting differences and celebrating the beauty of every habitat. They learned that even though they were different, they could be friends and help each other. Subscribe to our channel and check out other amazing stories on our profile or in the pinned comment. Link to channel.